keeping people engaged and motivated when you're delivering online training can be a real challenge for some people. I've pulled together 16 hot live training essentials for speakers and consultants to engage an online audience. I'm Wendy Keir, I'm the founder of Virtual Speaking Professionals and the UK's leading expert on virtual summits. At Virtual Speaking Pros, we pride ourselves on fast action learning. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to do something slightly different in this podcast and walk you through what we recommend for delivering online training. Number one, you want to keep your online training focused on fast action learning. Now, by doing this, what you're going to cut out is the overwhelm for people. I'm sure you've been on a training event online where you're just getting so much information, you can't keep up and you're feeling slightly overwhelmed. We focus in on 20 minutes of fast action learning. This way we can keep you super focused on what it is you need to learn one step at a time. You see, online people don't have the same attention span as being in a room with you, so you want to keep them super focused on that learning outcome, the information you want to share with them, the training. Really important. Number two, watch your time. In the speaking industry, we say, keep on point, keep to time, don't go over. It's the same when you're delivering training online. You've got to keep your timing really tight, because otherwise what's going to happen is you'll be delivering the training and you'll be wondering why people are dropping off. It's because you're over delivering. You're not thinking about what it is you're going to deliver at each point of the training. So you'll lose people's attention. Number three, always recap from the last session. Because you're providing an online training environment, what's going to happen is people aren't always going to watch your training live, so they're going to dip into different points where they're going to access the training. So what you always want to do is make sure you have a summary at the beginning so they know what was before the training that they're now dipping into. Number four, where possible, create a worksheet that asks the same questions so people can jot down their own notes. It's also nice that they have the documentation on branded paper. You can have it accessible in your membership area, and you can also resend it to them as a download again as well, just to remind them of the training from that fast action learning. Number five, leave lots of rooms for questions. It's important because it enables people to explore the training in context of their own understanding. And it also gives people the opportunity to learn from other people that have questions. So think about your fast action learning, the focus that you want to get your listeners or your students to pay attention to, and then leave lots of room for questions. Keep it fluid. 6. Use a mixture of content. Now at Virtual Speaking Pros, trainers deliver in different ways. They have very different styles, which works really well. So some people will do talking heads, some trainers will use slides, and some will really focus in on the group interaction. Mix your content up, give it a variety. So deliver the training in one style through slides, and then deliver again through asking leading questions from your audience, from the people who are engaging with you on the training. Number 7, don't be afraid of making mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. You are human, it would happen in a normal training environment. You could do something slightly out of sync. It really doesn't matter. Own your mistakes, but don't be afraid of making mistakes. It is absolutely going to happen online, and it's okay. And let's face it, half the time no one's even going to recognise anyway, which is normally the case. Number 8, record everything. Because you have a unique opportunity that sits differently to delivering live training, when you're delivering training online, you can record all of the sessions. Really important for people's learning. A, if they're not able to make it, they will get a copy of the recording. And B, if people aren't ready to watch it and they're not at that level yet, they can get access to it in the resource library, so they can go back to it time and time again. Also very important for reselling the course, repurposing the content. Number 9, when wrapping up and concluding with your fast action learning for that session, you always want to let people know what you're going to cover in the next session. So I mentioned earlier on that you should always be letting people know at the beginning what you covered in the last session, and at the end you should always be letting people know what you're going to cover in the next session. So they know what's been before and they know what's coming after. It helps with clear lines of communication and managing people's expectations. Number 10, use stories. Stories demonstrate your point and they give your learners extra insight because those stories enable them to be able to connect and see things in a different way. Stories demonstrate your point, but keep them short, sharp and precise. Remember, you want to be delivering fast action learning that keeps people interested and excited. So you don't want to have a story that's going to go on for 15 minutes. You want it to evidence your point. Number 11, send out the replay. Really easy to do. Once the training is delivered, you can send it out automatically via email, and you can provide a link to your membership area where people can get direct access. Number 12, get people's permission. So you can keep the training in the resource library and have the opportunity to sell it over and over again as part of a package. Number 13, recap what you've covered. Recap the learning. Focus in on the feedback that people have given you, the questions. Summarise that fast action learning session. 14, make sure your audience can see you and they can see one another. The beauty of delivering online training these days is it can be the same as being in a classroom. Everybody can see one another, they can see their facial expressions, and most importantly, they can interact and see the person who is delivering the training. Number 15, manage your learners. It's an interesting one. We all know from group dynamics that we will have some people that have quite bubbling, quite live, ferocious personalities. And we have some people who are quiet. What we need to make sure that we do is that we give everybody the opportunity to ask questions and to get feedback. So we need to think of managing our learners consciously, giving people the opportunity to ask questions and to engage and interact. And number 16, everything has to be in context. You have to set the scene. When you're focused in on fast action learning, you're thinking about the context of the learning environment and what it is you're going to deliver. It keeps you super focused. Everything needs to be in context. If you'll go off on a tangent, you will push the training past the time frame that you have, and also you run the risk of leaving people behind because they get confused. So you want to make sure that everything is in line and is in context.
Live speaker training every week with Virtual Speaking Pros. Speak with confidence online. Fill your programs, masterminds, boot camps and courses for years to come pain-free.
Share with your wider community. Tweet on Twitter, post on Facebook, share on LinkedIn,
add value to the wider online business community.